anyways?
No.
Yeah, we put it online publicly, you guys. I mean, you know.
I'll send you all sorts of emails.
Snapchat.
Dude, I'll Snapchat you in the
If you
background.
Snapchat me in the background, oh my god.
I will send it to you frame by frame.
It's just a series of 10-second videos of the entire background.
Yeah,
Oh
dude.
my god.
Best idea ever.
I'm gonna fill up your whole Snapchat. It's gonna start deleting videos.
Can you fill up a Snapchat?
I mean, it can only contain so much.
Infinite. Limits are infinite.
Snapchat? Yeah, Snapchat might be infinite. If there's one thing on Earth that's
There's infinite potential for.
It's based on Snapchat.
What resolution was chosen?
Argentina.
I sent the app instead of.
What's the text of the resolution? Just so
The United States federal government should substantially increase its support for alternative energy incentives in Argentina. Is that good for both teams? That is the correct text.
Support for what?
Alternative energy incentives in Argentina. This is correct, yes.
Incentives?
I don't think incentives was in the resolution.
Oh, support for alternative energy in Argentina.
I mean, it would be redundant if it was probably.
I could double check on smartphone. Should I do that? Sure. I have to turn it on.
Someone just was on the internet.
Yep.
The United States federal government should substantially increase its support for renewable energy development.
Okay.
Or
Development.
renewable.
Oh yeah.
Quite.
Energy development.
Renewable energy development in Argentina.
Alright.
Apparently not.
I read it and I just saw USFG should be racist. I'm just kidding.
I just saw action should happen, which seems.
They said they started their timer. That's a voting issue.
Okay.
Are we ready for me to start the timer?
Yeah.
Okay. The United States federal government should increase its support for renewable energy development in Argentina by assisting them in development and implementation of synthetic natural gas derived from their wind turbines. Again, the United States federal government should increase its support for renewable energy development in Argentina by assisting them in development and implementation of synthetic natural gas derived from their wind turbines. Copy? Do you have any questions?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Arms. First argument is Argentina is experimenting with renewables right now, but most of what they use is natural gas, and you can't store natural gas or keep it on the grid. There's no capacity to maximize it, which limits the expansion of renewables in the status quo. Argentina has huge wind potential because of Patagonia, which is 45% of their large uncovered land mass area. This main problem with large dependence on renewable energy sources in the status quo is a lack of reliability. For example, the wind is not always blowing, and sometimes it's cloudy outside, which means that you don't get access to things like solar cells. Also, Argentine power means that Argentina's power right now comes from 50% natural gas, which means that and using the reserves over the last 5 years, they've decreased significantly the amount of natural gas that they have. Second argument is the current forms of international and domestic investments are not working internationally. China has stepped in for investment in Argentina, but their loans have high interest rates and they require Chinese-made technology purchases. Next is domestic. No economic growth and high inflation means that Argentina's energy market has become laden with debt and unbalanced in the status quo. Their debt is at $600 million USD because people have to pay 4 times as much for electricity as their immediate neighbors. Third argument is that energy consumption is increasing in the status quo. Argentina's per capita consumption is the second highest in Latin America. Also, individuals need about an average of 1,000 megawatts per year to we need about 1,000 megawatts per year addition to keep up with that average energy consumption. Next argument is they're running out of gas in the status quo. It's decreased by 10% since 2006, making them a net importer, but they're trying to create a domestic synthesis production, but they don't have the expertise to do this. This has created enormous amounts of electricity shortages, especially in the winter months, which are as high as 40%, leaving tens of thousands of people without power. The energy sector is dragging in the economy right now. Their trade surpluses have shrank because they have become a net importer of energy. Also, low investment because the OECD puts Argentina in the most risky category as per January 2012. This because of their artificially low industrial price for electricity, which has created huge inflation, and voltage across the country has decreased by 5%, leading to 2.6 outages per month, causing enormous amounts of blackouts. Solvency first is SNG is clean and renewable. It's easily adapted. You get through electrolysis. You add hydrogen. You take the hydrogen that is added to. You take hydrogen that is taken from the atmosphere to the platinum on the wind turbines. It's added to CO2 through methylation. This means that there's net carbon usage in creating SNG. Also, it solves renewable shortage. First is a shortage. It can easily be put into a canister, and transport means that it's very secure. Also, exports are possible because LNG transition is happening internationally. It means that there are safer mechanisms that sparks international investment in the energy sector. Also, SNG saves a lot of money. SNG is 189 megawatts per hour as comparison to an average cost of 230 with also including carbon credits. especially with wind prices, especially with other renewable prices, renewables gaining traction in the market means that any combination would decrease energy cost reduction by 35%. 1 second. Impacts. First, the shortages. We think that shortages cause people to freeze and starve. These are people who are socially and economically coded, occurs in more concentrated locations of individuals in poverty and people of color in Argentina. This is an insular minority that makes it so populations are not socially, politically, or economically capable of representing themselves. This magnifies the internal electoral impact. Also reifies the notion of peripheral population subsist and a standard of living that is justified by their social identity. Second is the economy. We allow Argentina to become a regional exporter and reliable exporter. Means that they are a good distribution and development partner, create trade connections that are an opportunity for Argentina to build relations between states and cultures, allowing them to a grand development towards positive peace. The lack of economic ties maintains framework of negativity because it sees that the gains of zero sum instead of creating an integration of solutions. Also, regional collaboration allows us to compare the structures of hierarchy in our own relations. Is keep solving things like racism and classism. What's your question?
Sorry, so do you build the wind turbines, or do you just,
The wind turbines are already there in Patagonia. We
Okay.
take the hydrogen that is collected on the platinum in the wind turbines, and we do methylation through the electrolysis that excretes.
Who's
The
the
USFG. What?
Who's the we?
Uh,
The we in your sentence, the actor.
The USFG is helping Argentina as they transition and get the expertise to be able to do this for themselves. China. Hunter's first argument is that the U.S. and China are not cooperating in climate change and the status quo. China thinks that they are entitled to believe, and rich countries should cut their pollution by 40% of 1999 levels by 1990 levels by 2020. But China wants to develop. China is according to J Science. China is developing 2 coal power plants per every week. Also, climate change is not happening on climate change. Legislation is not coming on a policy level. They need global cooperation, which means that they want new investment with the United States and China is key with the U.S. because we account for 40% of the world's pollution and added together. Also, climate change is coming in the status quo. We are at 389.78 parts per million of carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere. 400 is articulated as a point of no return, which means that this is a 35% higher carbon dioxide concentration than before the Industrial Revolution. Chinese investment is in Argentina right now. They're financing 5 megawatts of Argentina's renewable energy project, and they are giving loans as per Advantage 1 solvency. First argument is that the plan creates Chinese investment and increase the value of their investment. It incentivizes Argentina to buy more wind turbines and to accept international investment in the energy sector. Also, the plan is cooperation between the U.S. and China, giving market incentive to expand renewable energy development plan. In the status quo narrative of U.S.-China antagonistic relationship on climate change and signals of future cooperation and mutually reinforcing investments. This also flips the antagonism on climate change, with the U.S. acknowledging that it needs to come to the table and help internationally. This is necessary to solve the impacts forces that this clean technology bridges the divide and is capable of solving U.S. demands on development on the developing world to stop emitting without taking responsibility for its own climate change stuff, or environmental imperialism by making it possible for making other technology impacts technology available. Also, it's key to solving warming. Ocean acidification is happening at a rate enormously right now. The pH of the ocean has decreased by 1.2 points. This is 200 times faster in the last 200 years than in the previous 2 million ocean acidification accounts. Is incredibly important because 82% of the marine biodiversity is held in places that are particularly affected by hypochlorite concentration, which means that biodiversity is predicated on co-extinction, which means that because we don't know what a keystone species is, co-extinction can happen at a very high rate. It causes extinction across all life on Earth because coral holds most life. Next.
Can you elaborate that impact instead of different?
Yeah. Okay. Also, coral holds 82% of the marine biodiversity. It's necessary that we maintain a high concentration of biodiversity here because high co-extinction rates means that because we don't know what keystone species is, we can cause enormous amounts of collapse in the food web, especially when we're killing ocean acidification makes it like you are literally living in poison, makes it impossible for things at the bottom of the food chain to grow, which means that we don't have any food to eat.
Woo! There's a phone everywhere. I need this. Where's the, I need that. Or, where's, yeah, I need this. Thank you. 1, 2, 3 off. And then advantage 1 and advantage 2. Yeah. That's that.
Listen. Is everybody ready? Yeah. Our thesis is that projection of eco-development is rooted in the notion of ecological orientalism. Their feel-good notion of sustainable development through green technology presumes the United States designs a benign savior of the barbaric Argentinian. Such an approach reproduces the colonial order in which produced the impacts of the PMC in the first place. The United States development has historically ravaged economies and ecological environments in the name of development itself. Next is the links for urban eco-management. Their project produces the nature utilities to use value is determined by its economic sustainability, the capacity for us to use it for natural gas, Saturn, natural gas, Orientals, and imagine that the United States can order the foreign land to the lens of the cell phone that the United States technology can possibly solve for any of the problems third arguments capitalist development groups that they rework the mechanism with which natural gas localities literally by mimicking the United States development and status quo that our massive expansion of natural gas is the way to solve this issue. Next is the impacts for turns case we would say that empirically the United States seem to ravage the environment of the third world. You can look to examples like all Latin America or the Amazon or places in Central America where banana companies were able to take out entire parts of the ecosystem. We've also ravaged all the economy by doing trade systems that inherently, like FTAs, etc., that inherently are biased towards the United States that create these cycles of dependency and also make it so they can't escape out of the situation. Next, ecological destruction is justified through their tiny measures to renewable energy, but it's really just a massive mechanism for the United States to continue to deplete the natural resources of this place. Next is both populations. So there's no value left in the world where the United States power decides who gets to live, and who gets dead. Through colonialism mindset. Therefore, we can give these impoverished people power, but only if the United States is the one to be able to do next. Alternative vote negative to reject the eco-orientalism in the PMC. Once again, vote negative to reject the eco-orientalism in the PMC. Next, argument solves the arguments rejected. Rejection solves capacity of the around impacts right on the criticism, but it also solves the entire case. Solves for it solves the eco-orientalism. We say cause the root cause problem in the first place. Next is ethics. We say the fields obviously not real. Nothing happens outside surroundings. You should take your training. Legal man's choose to support one ethic or the other. That of the name or that of the affirmative. Next, everybody solves yeah, that's it. So I also solved the outcome because it probably transitions into local projects of capacity to solve for renewable technology. Also, they need to create that energy because the United States is not stopping it from the next China step. China's moving into Argentina and South Korea for corporates first trade mass led there reached $14.8 billion dollars in 2012 and they've trade economic and cooperative agreements over things like nuclear power, wind power, etc. China is also the biggest trading partner with Argentina, Brazil, Chile, grew in the past decade. They grew 70% in these regions. Shows that it is massively important for the Chinese economy, but also for the geopolitical advice. Next to the arguments of renewable investments up in the South Quo. They themselves said the winter rates exist in Patagonia in the South Quo. The China Development Bank corporates want to put $261 million in loans for them to be able to buy those Chinese turbines. All upstart by turbines in Patagonia are Chinese technology. Suggests that this technology science makes a diplomatic relationship for a couple reasons. The Argentina president said that they have they're united by common goals and common vision for the rest of the world. These points links first argument is plan undermines Chinese sphere of influence for a couple reasons. But first, plan interferes in Chinese economic development. This trades off of Chinese power in the region. They arguments and they massively steals the project that China wants to invest in China. They over-invest in Argentina alternative energy. In one case, Argentina was asking for $1.2 billion in investment. China gave them $5 billion investment. And suggests China is willing to invest in green technology. Green technology once the plan proposed their service perception plan. Looks like we were trying to increase our diplomatic efforts in the region of China. It's overtaking us in imports and exports. And it looks like we are messing with the ungreen method of splitting power line. Everything's as close to the impacts. Our argument is about staying radical Chinese backlash recovery versus the PLA against credibility because it looks like the United States is just trying to get into the resources that causes the PLA to excel. Jewell nuclear energy to Argentina. Argentina asked for this last year, but China said no. China said no because they didn't see any mechanism for doing that. Your plan creates an incentive for the PLA to try to get Argentina on their side. Next, they're trying to lash out on issues of influence. The United States. It looks like the United States take back the West. China feels necessity to take back things like East Asia or the East. Chinese foreign minister said that Latin America is critical to energy security. China continues to have to look for other places. Energy security explains the impacts for Argentina proliferation, this Latin American proliferation. Brazil's historic rival for leadership in Latin America. With Argentina, we see the proliferation will be rapid and stable because these countries are rich enough to buy, but also because they want to establish a second take capability as fast as possible, be able to take out the enemies, lead to massive instability that could lead to something like a nuclear meltdown or control in the United States because there are so many nationals using nuclear weapons. We have incentive to first strike them, and that's the treaty nexus in Kaku. The arguments trying to not necessarily move in on the crocodiles because they see oil and energy security that leads to the United States because they said that they are nuclear attached in crocodiles causes the nuclear war between China and the United States that we say was going to cause extinction because they would obviously target cities and shoot goes up in the air where trade winds cyclone around. You can't grow anything in that area. The Federal Republic of Germany, this is counterplain text. should increase its support for, the Federal Republic of Energy should develop and implement synthetic natural gas derived from Argentinian wind turbines. The Federal Republic of Germany should develop and implement synthetic natural gas derived from Argentinian wind turbines.
Develop and assist.
Implement this. First, we're see arguments due to Germany rules when it comes to renewable technology for a couple reasons. First, their share of global renewable technology status quo is 22% and 46% of the German economy is going to be energy renewable by 2018, according to all best estimates. They are expanding things like solar, and natural gas speed chain, and also in terms of wind power. The next argument is competition. Obviously, doesn't like China for a couple reasons. First, is Germany's not seen as a competitor in the region for Chinese influence. Next argument doesn't trigger the PLA free because obviously they're more focused on the United States than the rest of also not saying it's a geopolitical philosophy characterize China's development as a geopolitical strategy between A and B. Next, go to the advantage. Which one is?
What are the second advantage?
Okay, go to the second advantage. This is the China advantage, right? First, China's abuse cooperation. They see this antagonistic because we were literally taking the technology that they gave to Argentina and changing its mechanism for production. The next argument is that China doesn't see it as cooperative because it looks like the United States is invoking in their sphere of influence, and it looks like they're trying to take investment away from China, which China's excited about the Argentine economy and status quo. Next argument is even if global warming is inevitable and status quo, it's going to be all the MIT studies suggest it's going to be at least 250 years before we can see any of the actual impacts, which means that even if we have to solve for global warming on a fast time frame, the impacts of global warming don't happen on a fast time frame. The next argument is social certification is now for a couple reasons. First, that it reaches saturation. The water reaches saturation of acidification means that the studies of the level saturated in 5.9 people to survive 5 times fast. I don't know, McKay told me this once, which means it should be true. Next argument is about biodiversity for a couple reasons. First, that the first that 50% of the coral reef is already dead in status quo means treated like the biodiversity collapse proves that species are capable to find new places to live and find new places to live, etc. Also, 100 species go extinct every single year. No capacity that has triggered a biodiversity collapse in status quo means you should prefer us. Go to advantage.
Wait. All causes, like you can't solve like China,
also you can solve for things like China and India. All the economy can solve China. They are not going to get rid of their approach because they're so worried about the geopolitical race between the United States and China means they don't want to compromise on anything. We were right on this question. Go to advantage. Trying to advantage one drop down to link level first. First, turn exporting LNG. This is an argument I got from Chassis. At least literally floating bombs because it has to move natural gas across the waterways and without the capacity to attack that in any situation would literally blow. It would literally blow up, probably cause environmental collapse. But also we said the United States is going to export LNG in the future be much cheaper and has capacity to crowd out Argentina. But also we said you have a long time for your economy with this. We said things have to do things like build this entire system and then have the capacity to export. Once again, energy neutral means Argentina's not going to be exporting for a hella long time.
Advantage 1, advantage 2. Counterplan, China disact, proceed. Does anyone need that again?
We're gonna have it already.
Everyone good? First, what I want you to cross by your design this is Argentina can't develop this technology now because they don't have a grid infrastructure. This means that any technology that they're getting from China isn't capable of being used to its full extent. Next, they say exporting liquid natural gas called fully bombs. This is for two reasons. The first reason is because the containers that we use are not capable of being weaponized because they are secure development. The United States technology proves this. Your impact will empirically prove. The next argument is that this type of weapon technology, this is different from types of weapon technology and isn't capable of being ignited within the world successful. In addition, the technology is already there. We're going to cost this already. The security of the wind turbine now shows us as empirically disproven. You said the United States is going to crowd them out. That's not true. We say that providing them the technology gives them the economic incentive to make them competitive with the United States production of natural gas. The only reason we're competitive is because the economic advantage that we have. Next, what is the impact level of debate? I want to cross-apply the arguments that he makes in the impact level, which says the shortages cause people freeze, starve to death. This is an obligation the United States federal government has. In addition to other countries, meaning that this is a unique reason why the action catalyst is going to be able to solve. In addition, I want to cross-apply the magnitude on the people in the periphery. In addition, I want to cross-apply the econ argument, which says the United States is uniquely key to investment within the region because we have regional exporter, make the region look strong against key to stop the negativity of the United States, the relationship with Latin America. These are all advantages that not even solved by the counterplan and the reasons for the one is going to advantage 2. You say cooperation.
Question.
Yes.
The first argument why the counterplan doesn't solve.
What?
Because we have investment in the region.
Investment. Yeah, advantage 2. using the cooperation of this antagonist right now, you're cross-collecting the first advantage that Argentina can't use China's technology now because they don't have a grid to be able to sustain it, which means that they're incapable of doing this. China is lacking in the region because they don't have the grid technology. Next, it's the only way to solve this. These two influencing in their sphere of influences and the two reasons. The first reason is because China is focusing increasingly on Africa as the focus of their is the focus of their development strategies and research strategies. This is perfect. This Sudan conflict between China and the United States have been in conflict within the region. This shows the United States is moving to Latin America and out of Africa, which makes China have this one particular legislature the disadvantage, cross-play everything everywhere. Next, you say 250 years to impact. This isn't true because people start dying in the periphery within the short term because of the effects of global warming. In addition, biodiversity collapse will happen whenever from this. In addition, we are taking a look at the next couple of years to unique keynote or being to solve for global warming, which means that this is a extinction becomes inevitable in the future. There's nothing we can do. This is an irreversible impact. You say ocean acidification causes something. Science answer. Phytoplankton can't adapt to low pH levels. They require a very neutral environment, or else they can't use oxygen and their bodies disintegrate. Your argument is not scientifically true. In addition, you say things go extinct every year. This isn't true. We are taking the rate of global warming and biodiversity collapse because ecosystem destruction happens at a faster rate and things are capable of adapting, which is unique and reason why this is happening with the world status quo. You say alternative regions. We say that the solution on environmental cooperation is uniquely key in order for us to be able to solve these other issues. China and India. Yes.
Also, this process takes carbon out of the atmosphere, which means that it reverses it. So
we take carbon out of the atmosphere through the 1AC, which means we're capable of reversing these negative impacts and alternative costs isolate. Time plan. First argument is permutation do both. Permutation do both. This gains self-solvency because it allows us to increase aid to multiple levels. The next argument is that shield coming to China's advantage. This is perceived as multiple countries acting, which means the United States isn't moving in on the sphere of influence, which doesn't cause China to feel the backlash within the region. The next argument is this shield political relations disadvantage because it's not used to unilateral action decreases or related to China's aggression against us. The next argument is the PER plus the counterclaim. The net benefit is China advantage. It's the only way to increase cooperation on the China natural gas technology, which keeps on global warming and independent impact of reasons before. The next argument is international scale is bad. The eighth point is the phrase interpretation equal one to domestic kind of plan. The standards that there's too many predictable actors within countries. There are literally more than 200 countries, which means they're unpredictable. This always creates negative research disparity, which means the former can't research. This increases education within the debate run. Next argument is to justify subject object. Yeah, you're literally feeling your disadvantage. Doesn't link. In addition, we say that this violates the decision-making model. The empirically descriptive education would never been forced to choose between different countries. Being able to act actually means environmental leadership is in the U.S. environmental leadership applied from the other advantage. In addition, we say that Germany needs to trigger. The Germany triggers this had worse than links worse to the counter plan. If Germany is better at alternative energy, then China will perceive them as a greater threat to their influence. We've already articulated that the United States, that China and the United States need each other in order to be able to solve our technology that we're giving them cooperates with China's technology, which means increased cooperation in the region. The next argument is solve the deficit of the counter plan. The first argument is that the type of technology that the United States is using is different than the type of technology that Germany is using because the wind turbines in the United States and Germany are significantly different. Germany has more advanced wind technology, which means that they don't need the type of synthetic natural gas we use. They don't have the technology to be able to carry such as the canisters. The next argument is that this doesn't increase the economy of the region caused by the case space. The next argument is that this will lead to China's disadvantage because the United States EU trade deals indicates increased cooperation with China because the EU has been part of the United States. Anyways, going to China's disadvantage. Can you this? First segment is non-unique. The political change in China means that the focus is not on external resources, instead on structuring their internal economy, which means that they're not going to perceive external actors within foreign policy. The next argumentation pivot of the United States is increasing or maybe influence within the region, which is causing China to be upset with the world status quo. The next argument is the kind of violence for the United States. China's disputes are high from the world status quo. The United States empirically side with Japan against China on these issues. The next argument is the United States to do UN Security Council sanctions, as well as our proving Syria proving increased tension between the two countries. You see that they're increasing the region economic cooperation caused by the moving to Africa because of this cross by the Syrian conflict. You see Argentina, Brazil, renewables and status quo. The loans for private status quo are incapable of being used because Argentina doesn't want to buy them because the technology is simply too expensive. In order to use China's technology, they need the United States technology, which means they're capable of solving some level debate. The first argument is it links where China needs our technology in order to be able for them to sell more our technology to Argentina, which means they're equally happy with the world of the money. See the next argument is links where looks like China and the United States moving away from its Asian pivot strategy and towards a strategy of cooperation with China and cooperation within our region, which is uniquely key. The next argument is no perception argument crossed by the China doesn't perceive it because doesn't perceive it because we're already in Latin America. In addition, because we're focusing on the internal policies, you see imperial economic development caused by the United States to invest in technology because we think because countries are more feel more safe investing with the United States already invested there. Next, on the international debate, first argument to U.S. China Argentina proliferation doesn't happen. This proliferation doesn't happen with global status quo, but already be happening because China and the United States are already both in the region. The next argument is no proliferation and mutual destruction. Those going to be able to check back. This never keeps solving. The next argument is no islands dispute. China doesn't want to go to war with Japan within the region because they don't want to cause regional proliferation, which would decrease their economic competitiveness in the region. In addition, the United States wouldn't be drawn in the conflict with nuclear because the spirit between the United States and China's economic forces. We have the ability to protect power within the region, whereas China doesn't. In case this was going to be bad, and going to be us, the next argument, the nuclear war is a league of extinction, is capable to have multiple areas that are affected by this. Critique. Alternative. First argument is permutation to plan on non-competitive work with capitalists capable of solving a couple of reasons. First argument is on the epistemic consistency in order to be able to solve the impression of the critique. We are able to have multiple types of ideology, equal development in order to create coalitions, which is the only way to solve. Or long-term changes to get people on your side in order for them to decide. The next argument is the next argument is the same as key. We say that pragmatism and having practical steps in order to be able to implement critical solutions is unique and key because it gives people an idea that they're making progress. Progress is unique and key to be able to forwarding the movement within the world. The alternative is the only way to preserve long-term solvency. The next argument is that the capitalism of the states inevitable, which means you have to find ways of working with any institutions in order to be solved. These institutions have existed forever. No movement has been able to overcome them. Means you don't have the power or resources to be able to do this. The next argument is that working within the states is always going to be unique and key because it doesn't allow them to see the movements that we're creating, which means that they're capable of finding back against it. This is a way to create visibility, which is capable of solving for alternative. The next argument is a turn. We articulate that there are projection of equal orientalism and implicates the logic of step that the environment exists within its natural state and perfect state, which shouldn't be left alone. This is for two reasons. The first is because it divorces the individuals from their environment. It makes us think that we are not part of this natural environment. The next argument is fetishizes what is natural and what is organic. This does allow us to increase to embrace our connection to technology, which is uniquely key in order to succumb to the post-human era and overcome things like racism, ableism, and the other root causes of isms within the world of status quo. Next argument on the impact level. The next argument is on the framework level debate. We say the practical policy making is going to be key in order to decrease democratic decision making. We do not understand our ethical obligation to prevent suffering that's happening within all the social periphery. This is unique and key because we only understand our private life through our ethical relationship with the other, which means what is the pragmatic action. So it's key to being able to increase it. The next argument is that this type of capitalism is absolutely inevitable. Humans have a psychological need in order to be able to consume more than we have, which is why we're different from animals within the world of status quo, which is why capitalism is able to develop to the point that it is no terminal solvency. This means you're incapable of solving. This doesn't turn case. We're capable of creating new ethical development. You can see this when you can see the relationships with China.
Okay. It will be the counterplan on top, the disad, and then the K, and then advantage 1, advantage 2.
I'm sorry, one more time. Counterplan?
Counterplan, DA, the K with an overview, and then I'll go MG order, and then advantage 1, and then advantage 2. All good?
Yep.
Capital go for separate application, discuss competition, no, your distance also answer theory is the first argument you made is reason to reject the counter, not an independent voting issue, also not going for the means, probably, not a reason we don't understand, also countertribution negative against 1, or negative against 1 international counter plan, we you all answer your infinite factors arguments. You say there's over 200 countries, yeah, sure, but there's also a lit base. Guess what? Germany is probably pretty fucking predictable because they have a huge economy, huge so much you can send that. Also, you say object fiat because you get the link out of the distance. No object fiat is object of the resolution. We would do something like say like Argentina would do the plan. That would be object fiat, not this. Which you don't have a link to this. Also, a net benefit of negative flex key to be able to check back. Also, key to education because it checks US key once, which is really good. All our education from the K is a reason why the United States is probably a bad thing. Also, yeah, that's fine. Chinese said. Index. Not going said all impact, no proliferation, so also management check between the United States and China, no risk of any access to your offense.
Will you extend the East Asia pivot? It makes China angry and status quo means no cooperation on the
East Asia pivot and Senkakus means no cooperation in the status quo. There is no way that the plan will be able to overcome this. Any new articulation of that would be new in the PMR, which means you should be highly skeptical of it. But like seriously thinking about it. Pivot to Asia where we give 2 middle fingers to China, but somehow if we help Argentina with some wind farms, all of a sudden China loves us. I don't think that that's the way it works. Okay, overview. They are making a couple damning concessions. First of all, the way that they relate to the other. All their offenses said that we have to help them is a good thing, but they can see that the way that they frame it is the United States as savior. But they can see that historically, the United States is not benign at all. This is empirically on our side. Every single time the United States or the IMF have gone into Latin America has ravaged their economy. You've also conceded a framing issue, which is the way you should evaluate, or you should be highly skeptical of the entirety of the app because the United States has always used justification of things like sustainable development programs. That is just a justification to be able to extract all of the resources
resources. This is a pretty good example of all of the first and the second advantage in which they view Argentina as a geopolitical tool. First, we need their resources. The second reason is to solve global warming. That is feel-good ethics. The second reason we need their resources is to work with China as a geopolitical tool, which means you can see the entirety of the impacts, which is a framing issue. You can see no value to life in a world in which we view the other through an Orientalist view, which means you get no access to your offense. The last thing is, the only other offense you have is state good. Our criticism is not a criticism of the state. There is not a reason while the alternative says no state action, the alternative says we shouldn't be Orientalist, right? We shouldn't do state action that is Orientalist. So all of your state good arguments are not offense for you because we are not precluded from state action. We're precluded from framing the other in an Orientalist fashion. Solves the entirety of your ad. Go to the alternative now. Extend the alternative. Actually, I need to go to the rest of the line. Sorry, link to me. Extend the first line to eco-managerialism. Your views that we have to constantly manipulate the world and reduce the entirety of the countries and their economy down to the utility value. The second one is you also concede eco-orientalism. All of your which should be a framing issue of how you evaluate the truth claims of the entirety of the also concede the capitalism. We don't even have to win the capitalism link to win. That viewing them in an Orientalist fashion is probably a bad thing. Means not going to the link page is damning for you because it means you know offense on the permutation because you probably have to win a no link argument impact. You've made a couple damning concessions. You've conceded turns case that every time the United States have always gone in, it's always ravaged their economy. It's all your argument means that their wind economy or their sustainable exports is probably a lie, but also probably inevitably collapses into crushes their economy over on the long-term terms all their poverty. Because what happens when they run out of LNG? Because the United States drinks it all up in our ovens. Means it turns the entirety of the also can see disposable populations go to the alternative. Now, send the alternative. You have to reject eco-orientalism of the PMC software. You can see that solves the end-round impacts. You also can see that fiat's not real, which means you get no access to your app. The only access you get is how you frame your other as offense. You can see that it's racist and that it reduces the entirety of the value of the position that we have to help them because only the United States tech can go in there and save them and reduce them from poverty means no way out of life in that world. We also can see it solves the entirety of the case because the root causes the United is the way that you frame them in the first place. Also, the ethics that you is a framing issue to try or you've also can see that local sustainable infrastructure will be able to solve, which means the status quo solves the entirety of that. Go to the line line, you say permutation, do bold. That links to all three of them. You can set all three links the reason why so inclusive because it includes the entirety of the methodology of PMC. Also, you say multiple ontologies is key to create coalitions. Sure, but post round after you vote, Nick solves it because if it's true that you'll change your ontology, you'll just come to our side after, and you won't be Orientalism anymore. Reason why you have to reject them in order to build the coalition in the first place. We have a sequencing dissent. You have to vote neg in order to build a coalition. What's up?
Also, it's not movements, it's ethics.
Yeah. Also, argument, it's not a movement, it's an ethics argument. Which means no link to this argument. You say state is pragmatic action. Our argument is not that the state is bad. Our argument is the way that you describe them is bad in itself. Reason why we can still allow state action. Next, you say is that capitalism and the state is inevitable. You can apply the fact that I'm going to say the same thing over. Our argument is not that the state is bad. We are not saying, hey, we're crazy anarchists. We're saying you shouldn't frame them in a racist fashion. Next, you say you have to work within the state because it means our movement is inevitable. That's precisely what our floating pick argument is doing because it means that we can work within the states and we can do things actually help them without being racist in the first place. Next, you say that term we fetishize the environment first of all. First of all, fetishizing the environment is probably good in this instance, considering the fact that you just ravage their economy because you think we want to take use all of their wind to take all of their natural gas so that way we can solve our economy, we can solve global warming. But i.e., who's causing global warming in the first place? Probably the United States and our giant desire for consumption. Next, you make an argument that's bad because that means we won't be able to overcome all the ableisms and other isms in the status quo. Wrong. There's no reason why our ability to work within the state wouldn't be able to solve that back in the first place. You know, office with this next framework. What's up?
And we embrace the other eco-oriental.
Oh yeah, and we embrace the other. So you suggest that we have better ethics in approaching how we relate to the environment. We saw back for all of your ism arguments, even better. Next framework, you say that ethics here to resolve poverty. Our argument is not. Our argument is the way that you understand poverty is something that is problematic because you assume that only the United States can go in there and save them with the technology means that is the situation to solve. It doesn't work with any of that. Also, you say it's inevitable for capitalism because it solves psychology to overconsume obviously our ethics arguments in response to that. We obviously don't think that we should always consume everything, so we always, because that probably itself turns the entirety of that of global warming. Your ethics of we should always consume because that's inevitable is problematic. We shouldn't rely on biological determinism, but rather we can probably act in the world and do good things. Advantage one. Going for the bad export LNG in the first place, first of all, is it creates floating bombs. All the arguments about safeguards within the wind and within the wind. Our argument is putting a ship full of natural gas and shipping it across the Pacific Ocean means you have to drive a dinghy into it, and then it creates a giant explosion because it's literally a giant floating bomb in port. Means that probably would A causes thousands of people to die, but also turns the entirety of the app, because after that happens, wouldn't export it anymore, which means they have to become dependent on exporting LNG. Then the accident occurs. Then that means that they stop doing the economy. The first one triggers all of your poverty impacts. Also, the alternative resolves all these arguments because you conceded the floating bank. Go to the China advantage. Won't set all the warming defense. Reason why it's not going to cause extinction. First of all, as you can say, there's no. You conceded ocean acidification. That's inevitable because you conceded all the alternative causes like China, India, and U.S. alternative. The only thing you have is we have to be able to solve the alternative. It's floating bank. We resolve that. You've also conceded that 50% of the coral reef has already died. The status quo suggests that all of your extinction scenarios are terminally non-unique, which means there's only a question. If you concede 50% of coral has already died, you can't build that back by getting LNG. That means it's try or die for value to life, because that means extinction is inevitable. Also, the plan, like helping their R&D can happen in the world of the alternative, but without being racist. Simple.
Okay, it'll be the K. I'm going to do an overview, and then I'm just going to work my way down the K, if that's okay. And then advantage 1 and advantage 2. Okay, everybody ready? They've conceded the entire. Whoa, did you say hold on?
Yeah.
Okay, let me start over.
I just said point of order.
They've conceded the entirety of the links and impacts debate, which means we are going to be giving a lot of weight in the capacity for the alternative to solve over the permutation or for over the affirmative. Let's go to line by now. On the link level, they've conceded the entirety of this. The only arguments they have about a framework about how we're psychologically necessitate consumption. Our argument is not that we won't consume in a world post the alternative, but that the United States won't continue this feel-good notion of sustainable development through which it can overconsume with Argentina without feeling any repercussions from that, where we can dispose of those populations, say that they are not worthwhile because the United States is the savior is one who gets to decide what happens within the rest of the world, and which happens in the rest of the world. You can also extend the number 2 argument of eco-orientalism. This is important because it means that even if they go through these arguments about how capitalism and the state are inevitable, eco-imperialism is not inevitable, and that is a significant breach because our argument is that there's the potential to they imagine that the United States can order the foreign through the lens of itself. That is not intrinsic to capitalism or intrinsic to the state. It's intrinsic to eco-orientalism. That is the link that we're going for, and the link that we are winning today. But also concede the entirety of the impacts. This is important because it means that they are never solving the root cause of either their advantages. We highlight from the LC that it doesn't matter if they solve the case because first of all, the United States is the one who engages in these massive economic destruction all over Latin America and Central America that probably turned advantage 1 service the root cause for this sort of exploitation. But this sort of exploitation, no examination of any other alternative root cause for environmental exploitation. They have not explained how the state is the root cause of environmental degradation or how capitalism is the root cause of environmental degradation. Instead, we are the ones controlling the mechanism through which environmental degradation actually happens on a root level. They also are continuing arguments about how the Argentinian economy will never be able to get to the potential because it's trapped in cycles of dependency with the United States based on our Orientalist policies. Go to the alternative now. Even if they go hard for the permutation, the ethics of the alternative is still not beneficial to that of the permutation. There are still going to be some residual links to the methodology of the PMC. This epistemological consistency argument doesn't matter for me. They are conceding arguments that we ask you to take through to leap of faith. Obviously, fiat is not real. We're not trying to create a movement outside its ground. We're asking the judge to take an ethical stance either towards eco-orientalism, which I hope you don't do, or against eco-orientalism through that of the alternative. The next argument is they concede that the status quo stall the world of the alternative results in local projects having the capacity to solve for the affirmative. Even if it isn't in the same mechanism as the affirmative, it still has the capacity to solve. Sure, maybe local projects won't be in terms of natural gas and technological development, but our argument is that local projects could do things like reduce use of energy or have the capacity to solve for things like networking, etc. They may go for this transhumanism. We have to embrace technology to overcome isms. We obviously control the internal link to embracing the other. We say that the PMC decides that some are worth more than others. That the United States is the savior, worth more, and able to exploit that of Argentina, which means we probably solve for these ethical isms just in a different mechanism. We also probably embrace technology in a world of the alternative. We just say that it should not be used for eco-orientalism. What?
Conceding the links and the turns case arguments means they get no access to their act-out ways. Only a receipt.
Conceding the links and the turns case argument means there's only a chance the alternative capacity to solve. Go to advantage 1. They make some damning arguments and say that China and the United States are antagonistic in the status quo over things like East Asia and Senkaku on the disadvantage means there's probably, or that's on advantage too, sorry, on advantage too. They make those damning concessions, probably means there's no cooperation in status quo, no chance at just cooperating on one alternative energy project in Argentina's capacity to solve for any of these things. They also concede that 50% of the coral reef is dead now, probably an indication that biodiversity, these claims about biodiversity are either a myth or we're already past the tipping point. Go to advantage 1 now. They may go hard for these ethical obligation argument, but ask yourself, what is causing poverty? Is it the exact situation of alternative energy not being within Argentina, or is it the eco-orientalism of the PMC and of the United States we execute throughout the criticism? It's clear that the root cause of these issues are those of the K.
Cool. All right. The order is advantage 1, and then the criticism. Is that good, Max? Or you want the K first? Okay.
Advantage 1 is.
This is a question of whether or not the affirmative actually qualifies as eco-orientalism, which I think the answer to that is definitively no. The only resource that we extract via the 1AC is the resource of hydrogen that is collected on the platinum on wind turbines and the carbon dioxide that exists in the atmosphere above Argentina. These are collected and converted into energy. We help the transition that Argentina is trying to do themselves. Those arguments are made coming out of the PMC very clearly and extended in the MG. Argentina is trying to make synthetic natural gas right now. We are answering the call that the other has put forth towards us. We say that the question of the 1AC is the question that you asked during the 1AC is damning, because I say that we train them, we give them the expertise, we give them the technology. We do not occupy their energy sector, which means that this is not an instance of eco-orientalism, because we do not occupy, this is not continual U.S. action. This is the U.S. helping the transition. Also, no savior mentality. Our affirmative is framed as taking responsibility for an economic disparity that exists. That is all the impact framing of advantage 1, and we are incapable of realizing this in a world of the criticism, because we are masked by the ideology that we can only intervene in areas where we are not acting in a sense of eco-orientalism, which is never clearly articulated, which means that we err on the side of caution and do nothing.
Point of order.
I mean, all of the analysis of the no, all of the like secret no link stuff you were just saying is like you didn't even go to the links page.
That one, the case debate.
Yeah, all of that argumentation was on the case debate on the impact framing.
Okay.
Also, it's in response to new impact framing that you make during the overview of the impact.
Also, I say cross-play everything everywhere.
Okay.
Advantage 1.
Trill.
There's that.
What do I have?
350.
You say floating bombs, probably not going to label the boats that say they're full of synthetic natural gas. Also, the canisters are secure enough that we ship them right now, and they're not being used as a weapon in the status quo, means that there's very low probability of this. Also, greater incentive to steal them than anything. Obviously, a dumb argument that they would just bomb a bunch of energy when they could just steal it. No argument about why lower exports would be bad. Advantage 1 impact framing. Voting for the F is not a move towards eco-orientalism. Our argument is very clear and very consistent throughout the debate. You do not have a response to the ethical obligation of the 1AC. The ethical obligation to help people on the periphery, to help people who are affected most by the blackouts, people whose social identity is imposed by their race, by their class, by what society decides they are. Megan?
When you say help, you mean the ability to recognize what we have done to create a situation.
We are recognizing the problematic situation that we have created, and we are helping a transition. We're taking responsibility for our wrongdoings. We should not justify a living standard based on an imposed social identity. We say that it is more important to have an ethical movement and to embrace the other by showing this leap of faith in attempting to stop isolation and insular minorities. The 1AC is a more radical step of help comparatively. Also, we say that the creation of poverty is a problem of lack of energy access. That argument is very consistent throughout the whole debate. Criticism. Permutation debate first. Permutation does the plan in all non-competitive parts of the counterpart, all non-competitive parts of the alternative. First, First argument is you can see that we don't need ontological or ideological consistency, which means two things. Little a is if the alternative is incapable of existing with other ontologies, you prove your alternative fails because it will never create a spillover. Your ethic doesn't matter. It only exists in this realm. You only create hostility, which means that you are incapable of resolving the residual link to the affirmative, means that every single instance of the affirmative in the future is a disadd to the alternative alone, because the 1AC is capable of resolving that question of responsibility and how we act in terms of problems that we have created in the past. The 1AC creates a different change in the way that we view how the responsibility that we hold towards other individuals. That is the ethical obligation argument that we're making that creates a residual solvency differential between the alternative and the permutation. Second argument, little b, is this means that a combination of ideologies is capable of coexisting without squashing the other. This means that we don't prevent your solvency, and even if we do link, we have an independent net benefit to our ideology, which goes conceded that is that ethical focus is good because it allows us to evaluate value to life. If we don't view the death of people in Argentina as bad, then it means that we automatically prevent them from having value. The second net benefit to the permutation that will independently outweigh any residual link to the criticism is that the perm is not the only instance of durable solvency mechanism because it is invisible to the state. That argument goes conceded. It works within the state. Your criticism says that eco-destruction is happening now because we have an incentive to do this. This means that there is a disincentive for the state to allow your alternative, which means that they fight against it. The only way that we can stop fighting against it is through the permutation. Even if EF is not real, we should still look at the implications of our actions, especially because they have an ethical effect on other people. This resolves the internal into dehumanization. Physical suffering is bad, but recognizing it is the only way to show that value to life exists. Also, when you talk about framing the other, we say that this is how you take responsibility for previous actions. You endorse harm on the periphery in every single instance of inaction that the alternative justifies. The exception of the 1AC is good, and the exception of the 1AC is the net benefit to the permutation that outweighs any residual link to the criticism. Look, our argument is that the United States teaches how to use sweet technology that is developed in combination with Chinese and Argentinian technology that exists in the status quo, these wind turbines. I do not know how scientific cooperation to teach technological use is, among several international actors, is an instance of eco-orientalism. Maybe I have missed something, but I think this international cooperation, and also this ethical obligation outweighs any instance of a link to the act.